So Jeff Connell is going to lead us away on that happy moment. And away we go for race 2. Connell gets bogged down a little bit at the start. Somebody gets a lightning start on the outside. You can see they're all over the place at the moment. Jack Boyd really trying to get a position in the middle right there. Will he make it through? That's going to be a question. They're 3 wide into the first corner. They make it through. Number 7 has to go wide there. That's Andre Heimgartner getting a bit wide there. He had a fantastic start, but had to just ease out a little bit through that first corner. Great run up through Eau Rouge and over the top we go, and they make it through somehow. The lead pack has made it through. What about everybody else just jumping down to see what we've got going on at the moment? Because of course there are a few of the LMP2 cars that have...
Oh, is he round? He goes round. Jack Boyd's gone around, and it looks like I think he's taken out Heimgartner potentially. Andre Heimgartner there getting taken out as well. He's just got up on the curbing, rotated around and went straight through the field. Lucky there not to take out a couple more cars.
Yeah, very lucky to not take more out. Meanwhile, Luke Turner is now in the lead with Matty Cardiglione and Jeff Connell in third. John Merritt's in P4, James Pettigrew in P5. So this one has really got close.
Let's have a jump back quickly to the Radicals. It is Jordan Peter leading with Maverick Benson and Johnson behind. So that has been a change for position at the front there. It looks like there's an LMP2. That's Armand Sharma coming through the pack again. So he's making his way up through the field. So we jump back up to the front of the pack. We'll come back and have a look at the Radicals shortly. It is Luke Turner, Matty Cardiglione and Jeff Connell up the front. It looks like Dave Roberts now putting some pressure on James Pettigrew as well. So we head down towards the bus stop. In fact, as well, Jeff Connell under pressure. My apologies, Jeff Connell putting John Merritt under pressure for P3.
Andre Heimgartner's getting absolutely swamped into the bus stop as well. Just got a little bit loose. I think there's a little bit of damage on that car as well. As I did notice somebody just coming into pit lane this early. Yeah, so Jack Boyd coming into pit lane to get some repairs done and top that one up on fuel. Can he save enough and keep enough speed to maybe make it to the end from here? We did see that Jeff Connell made it with 1 lap remaining, so it is, could be just about feasible to do it this way round, but you will have to fuel save a fair bit.
Slightly longer race here now as well, 30 minutes, so...
well, yeah, it won't be possible then.
Let's see. Tell you what, we'll have to have a chat to Sam. I thought this was a 20-minute race. That's what was in the notes. What are we doing here, Carl? Buddy...
we've been given the wrong information.
It's probably going to finish in the dark.
Who would expect that? Sam Lehman's setting up a race and it finishing in the dark. The only thing that we're missing is headlights on cars. They've got too many headlights, these cars.
Had to get that in early in the season. Doesn't get in much earlier than that. Thanks, Sam. Anyway, some good racing going on back here. Mitchell Bolton is just holding out against Jack Wittes. There's an LMP2 coming through as well. So Jeffrey Wang in the background. So this is Alec Court, Jack Wittes and Mitchell Bolton all fighting for position again. There's a little bit of contact down the inside there.
Yeah, racing, there is some real racy cars out there at the moment. People are very much taking advantage of this now, and those radicals will be able to make it on one stop, I'm pretty sure. But the LMP2s, top class, they might have to make a two-stopper race with this one with that little bit of extra time.
Taking a look at some of this stuff in the background here. It is really, really close down in the depths of the radical field. Release the track a little bit, allow with a change of the way they award those penalties to just drop them a little bit more generosity. So Lachlan Capel here trying to make a move down the inside of James Pettigrew. Pettigrew does the switch back there, gets the position back. Capel here opened up to Dave Roberts as well. Dave Roberts gets a good run. Looks like he's going to take that position down into turn one. It's going to be on here. We'll stick with these two as they head down on the run to the part of the track where you really don't want to be side by side with somebody else. Who's going to be brave here? Lachlan Capel gets his way through there ahead of Dave Roberts. Dave being conservative, just making sure he gets through. There's still a long way to go in this race. 22.5 minutes left. But the question is, I mean, they can't save enough fuel here. They will need to stop at the very least once. But not too sure on how much fuel they're putting back into these tonight, whether they've got full fuel capacity available, as we have a host of cars, other than that who you would expect, Jeff Connell. We have a host of cars jumping into pit lane at the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, so Connell once again taking the long strategy and just fuel saving. Will it pay off again? We'll find out, I'm sure. Obviously, a bit of a longer secondary stint here, and as you said, it's going to be the thing of how much fuel can they take on board and how much fuel does everybody take on this time. Because if they can only take on, say, 10 seconds of fuel, then they won't make it to the end. We know that, so they're going to have to stop again. I think Jeff Connell is going to be just planning to sort of come in just one lap later, so he can just take a little bit less fuel than the rest of the field and hopefully make it to the end, or possibly make a slightly shorter stop for that second stop. So just trying something a little bit different for Jeff Connell, just using that fuel saving. Luke Turner, though, is the first of the cars on the track that has taken a stop, but John Merritt is going to try and say, Matty Carlione, he's going to say no to that, as Carlione gets the position in the 81.
Lachlan Capel there as well, battling away with James Pettigrew. Neither could make the gap on the other during the pit stops. They've come out of pit lane side by side, and Lachlan Capel just not quite able to close that out against James Pettigrew, so he retains the position in the number 69 entry in 6th position. So he's doing very, very well in one of the Cows entries.
Maverick Benson still in the lead in the Radicals at the moment, doing a good job out there, just ahead of Sam Lehman although Sam Lehman is a lap or two down, unfortunately, just from that early incident. It's got Matthew Johnson just behind him, so Matthew Johnson again trying to chase down Maverick Benson in the Radicals at the moment, and Jack Widders, Christopher Henn and Alex Court there, the top 5 in that sort of section of the race, and going to hope that can just save a little bit of lap time, save a little bit of time in that final pit stop. So trying to take advantage of the final pit stop. So Jeff Connell coming out in P5 now. So Matty Carlione is the leader of this race.
Somebody with Jack Widders is trying to get make some progress up onto the back of Matty Johnson for P3. He's going to hook onto the back of car in front, trying to get a draft on here and get a pass. It's a car that's a lap down, so just helps him that little bit. But as you say, we'll jump on board now with Matty Carlione in the lead of this race. Turner and Merritt chasing him down. See there, the two Echuca Toyota sponsored cars doing a cracking job. And Matty Carlione will know that he has his mirrors full with those two drivers behind him. And there's a bit of a gap back from there to Scotty Gray, Jeff Connell. So, of course, Connell has just pit. So he'll be hoping that that has worked out well for him as they're all over Matty Cartaglione here. Headlights ablaze. Cartaglione defends well in the 81. Switches back to the inside to cover that line off. And off he goes again. And the Turner and Merritt combination will have to have another look. See how they can maybe get this one done. Cartaglione will be under pressure here as they head up towards the bus stop. You can just see it now. He's going to be under pressure from those two entries.
Yeah, they're going to be able to work together a little bit here as well. Yeah. So I think they're going to sit in, work together a little bit, and just keep with each other. And you can see just swapping position there. John Merritt just getting ahead of Luke Turner. So they're just changing position there. I'd say a little bit of team thought there as well. Just have the cars swap position and just help with a little bit of fuel economy down the straight lines, and give John Merritt the chance to have a bit of an attack on Matty Cartaglione this time round. So both those cars are really putting the pressure on Cartaglione as it stands.
Worked out well for Merritt as well. He closed up a fair bit of the gap. Doesn't look like it's so much here, but closed up a fair bit of the gap there. Up to the back of Cartaglione, so he's in the draft, which is the most important thing. And how will he use that now as they head towards the back straight, fastest part of the circuit?
I'll try my best. So Cartaglione doing a good job of defending, but they've also got to think about when they're going to take that second stop now. So they're going to have to make it to a point where they know they can make it home without too much trouble, but they don't want to lose too much time. They don't want to fall back into the clasp of the pack and get caught up behind somebody that's a little bit slower than them. Not that there's much speed difference between the cars out there, but if they fall back to a pack that's having a bit of a battle, they could lose a couple of tenths a second a lap. At the moment, it looks like Matt Andrews and Joe Potts coming into pit lane for their second pit stop. So they've decided to pull the trigger now, come in and get that bit of extra fuel to get them to the end of this race. So it'll be interesting to see how this one works out. Matt Andrews as well in pit lane. So a few of those drivers just deciding to take their secondary stop there and see how this one works out. And this could be a good move right now. It's taking your second stop now. If you can get some clean air, you can get your way through and sort of see how well it goes from here on out. So we'll see how this one rotates. Tim Harris took his pit stop last time round. So Tim Harris just coming out behind Matt Andrews, I believe. So the 93 locked on iRacing car. Just behind him at the moment, and did get a message from Locked On. The podcast will be delayed a week this week, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, but we will be back at full strength next week.
Just looking there on the end plate, has Matty Cartaglione got a picture of himself on his own card?
Oh, that's too hard to see for me.
I think he has. I'll have to ask him about that if he makes it up to the top step. But John Merritt's looking to do all he can here. He's trying to go around the long way. Oh, his teammate closes right up there as they jump into pit lane. So they've pulled the trigger. When will Jeff Connell come into pit lane? It's going to be at least a lap from now as he goes by back into the lead of the race.
I've got a feeling Jeff Connell's going to stick it out there for maybe an extra lap. So we might see it 2 laps here for Jeff Connell before he comes into pit lane, depending on how much that extra fuel allowed him, because we saw Jeff Connell manage to make it an extra lap with that previous tank. Will that little bit extra help him out this time round? And I just got a feeling that might be just trying to do that this time round, as it looks like Andre Heimgartner's keeping it out there for an extra lap as well, so he's going to come in next time round for his pit stop. Or maybe keep it out there a little bit longer.
Matty,
just using the advantage of clean air.
Matty Cartaglione was in pit lane for a long time there. 51 seconds, stationary for 20. Luke Turner the same. John Merritt only stationary for 9 seconds. Now, John Merritt, 9 seconds last time around, got you around about 13 minutes of track time. So he is going to be close on fuel to the end here. 20 seconds equally on the other side of it though. A very, very long stop.
Yeah, that's an odd one for Carbione and Turner. I'm wondering if they got a penalty? That doesn't seem right.
Potentially, or maybe just made a mistake with the fuel number.
Possibly. They may have both overfilled it, but then if you can fill it up to that much, then you probably would have done that in the first stop, and that would have saved you coming in for a second stop.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely been a mistake. They've taken tyres.
Taken tyres. You've got to think that's probably a mistake as well. The track temp's quite low. It's in the evening, so interesting to see if that will allow them. The pace has dropped off around about 4 seconds. Having said that, the last lap around Jeff Connell did was a 2:01.43, which isn't the fastest lap of the race, but is very close to it.
Jeff Connell sticking it out there for another lap. So Jeff Connell is going to stick it out there for one more lap before he comes into pit lane. I would say it's a mistake by Turner and Cardelloni. I think they both just made a mistake, unfortunately.
Speaking of the tyre difference, Matty Cardelloni just did the fastest lap of the race at 2:08. So to answer our question about the tyre difference, he is up behind Jeff Connell now. Connell out of pit lane and is within 8 seconds of the lead. Last lap around, he was over half a second faster than the race leader.
Here's an interesting... Sorry, I just noticed Tim Harris just had to pit. He stopped one lap shy of everybody else last time round, but he's had to come in for his third pit stop. So there are a few cars out there that have done 3 stops now. So I'm wondering if it is just a little bit iffy to fuel to the end for everybody, and if Jeff Connell has absolutely called this one perfectly with the strategy once again. Do the drivers that all stopped 3 laps ago have enough fuel to make it? So this is going to be interesting from here, I'd say. We'll soon find out if they start peeling in pit lane. If we start seeing a few of those front runners peeling into pit lane, then we'll have our answer that it is touch and go. But you'd think they would have plenty, but it's got me wondering, that one.
If that's the case, then you'd say Cardelloni's probably borderline as well. Now he's just got past Jeff Connell, so he's on the hunt now for Lockie Capel, who's just leaving your picture as well. But you'd say everyone in front of Jeff Connell is on the border as to whether or not they'll make it home on fuel.
Matt Andrews, Daniel Cheney, Jade Potts all coming into pit lane as well. So Daniel Cheney, same strategy as the leaders. So
pitted on lap 8, did he?
Sorry?
Pitted on lap 8, did he?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, this is going to get real interesting.
Yeah, sorry. My screen has slightly different timing stats to Stuart, so I have to do calculations in my brain, which is always fun.
In the meantime, it is still Maverick Benson leading the amateur series in the Radicals, so he's out in front. He's got a solid gap, 6.5 seconds over Matty Johnson, and then Jack Wittes only a second behind him, so there's enough of a gap between them, but even the slightest of mistakes and they will be under pressure. There's a huge battle going on a little bit further back between Jordan Peter, Richard Brookfield, Derek Orty, Andrew Hayes and Brady Buchanan. And that's the 5 cars on screen there. Tim Orty not too far off in the background either. So they're all fighting away. This is for positions 29 and beyond outright. But in class, this is for position 7.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic battle going on. It's one of the trickier things in multi-class racing is as John Merritt's pitting and John Merritt is pitting. So that answers the question. They're coming in for another pit stop. So
Bray, Capel and Cardelloni in as well.
Yep. Jeff Connell. Oh, it's going to be close for Connell, but it looks like he has pulled the right strategy here.
Well, he's got 2 extra laps on them. That's 4 minutes of running time, and he's just started a lap, so he will be fine for fuel, what you would think.
Yeah, and we'll soon find out as he's coming around to start the final lap now. And he's just going to back off a little bit just to make sure that white flag does come out. Does he peel into pit lane? No, he does not. So this is going to be the final lap right here. Will that black Batmobile have enough fuel in it to get it across one more lap of Spa-Francorchamps? 7 kilometers to go. It is a long lap here at Spa. It's one of the laps where you don't really want to be looking at the fuel gauge going, it's telling me I only have enough for about 3/4 of a lap. This is going to be a tricky one because there are so many uphill sections that are very fast and that do chew up the fuel here. You can coast it down at the downhill section, of course, as you get over the top of Lacombe. So all the way down into turns 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way down to Savalo. And then you're back on the throttle as you go uphill again. So Connell's going to be using that downhill advantage to his best effort. Got a 14-second gap over John Merritt at the moment. There's a big crash in front of Connell.
In front. It's gone round.
So that was Ashama unfortunately going around. Just saving it there and just waiting for the field to go past, just waiting for a safe spot to rejoin. But unfortunately for Sharma, early gains not paid off too well towards the end of the race there, sadly for them.
He'll be looking to get into the GTs next week, no doubt.
Yeah, back into a more familiar territory.
That's it, he was top 5 or 6 in the GTs in the qualifying, so from memory, so he'll be looking forward to getting back into those, no doubt, after this wildcard round. That's what's called the wildcard round, of course.
It often is very wild.
And something different. So Jeff Connell makes his way. He's got under half a lap to go now. In fact, only this straight
Jeff
to go.
Connell is creeping it up. He's just letting all of those radicals know to get past him. And the radicals don't really want to do that because they don't want to do another lap. So there is a traffic jam forming behind Jeff Connell as he comes up through the bus stop for the final time and is going to creep it across the line. Got enough go juice just to get it over the brow of the hill, and downhill we go. Jeff Connell takes out the second win of the night. Now, who's going to come home in P2?
So we'll jump on board. It looks like John Merritt's going to get it. Well, goodness me, look at all that in the background there. It is John Merritt who gets across the line. Scotty Gray's going to come home in 3rd position with Matty Carneleone 4th, Lachlan Capel in 5th, Joshua Fitt in 6th, and you can see the rest of them start to come through now. Pettigrew, Turner, Dustin Fletcher coming around the last corner now. So let's jump back down here. It is Maverick Benson, who still has completed his race, so he has taken out the win. The Radicals, it sounds like he's actually still going. He's got a lap to go, so he's on his final lap now.
Yeah, so Maverick Benson and
Matty Johnson
both have to do one more lap. They have to make it round, of course. So they're just hoping they did their fuel calculations correct, because you saw Christopher Henn, he actually just dropped behind Jeff Connell. Right at the end there, Jeff Connell was saying, look, just get past us. Because Maverick Benson is fuel saving like a boss at the moment. He is absolutely on that clutch. Matty Johnson here could have a chance. This is going to be a absolute race to the end, and who has the fuel to make it?
Johnson's got more fuel on board. Johnson has more fuel on board than Benson, so he may not need to save it all. So we'll stick with this one.
And as we say, this final section is slightly uphill, so this is disastrous if you're having to fuel save. He could just cough across the line and cost Maverick Benson that class win here. It's going to be close for this final run. Johnson is catching slightly. You can see visibly just catching there. Benson is gliding. He is out of fuel by the sounds of it as Johnson gets past. Johnson is going to take it on the last lap. Get the win here. Will Benson be able to cross the finish line? Will he have enough momentum to get it across the line here? That's the big question. Should be... if he doesn't get... Yes, he's got enough. He's just saved enough to just get that power out and get to the downhill section. Maverick Benson will finish in P2.
Wow.
But Matthew Johnson timed that to perfection, had the fuel set perfectly. That extra lap of fuel giving the Red Roux the victory.
There it is. 2 races finished with 2 cars running out of fuel. But that one there having an impact on the result. So let's bring it up on screen. What a night to start off with. It has gone by in a flash. Let's have a look here at the overall results for the feature race. They come up on screen, and there we are. Oh, done the wrong thing there. There we go. That's going to be a little bit better. So it was in the feature race. Jeff Connell taking out the win there. Master of Fuel Strategy again, proving the difference with John Merritt in second, Scotty Gray in third. Then we've got Matty Carneleone in fourth with Lachlan Capel fifth. Joshua Fitt in sixth, James Pettigrew seventh, Luke Turner in eighth, Dustin Fletcher ninth, Daniel Cheney rounding out our top 10. And then it was Matthew Johnson, Maverick Benson and Christopher Henn as the top 3 in our amateur class for this evening. So a good finish to the race there. Just waiting for our podium winners to jump into the commentary box. Carl, nothing less than what we would expect from this series at the start. Really, really good close racing. And even for a wildcard round, the driving standards extraordinarily high. Fantastic racing from everyone.
Yeah, really good racing out there. We've had our first test of Pass 2, and it has passed with flying colours, and the AUSPASS series has come on great with this round as well. So it was really good to see that race. Some really good fuel strategies coming out there, different fuel strategies as well coming into play. But that final was fantastic, and Pro and AM there, and the P2 of course and the Radical both giving us an absolute finish that was a nail biter, that we were just going, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it?